I saved a child from getting hit by a bus and ended up in handcuffs. The police officer's voice was steady but firm as he read me my rights. Sir, you're under arrest for assault and reckless endangerment. Multiple witnesses saw you tackle a pedestrian into the street. The handcuffs clicked around my wrists on Michigan Avenue as hundreds of onlookers filmed with their phones. My mind was reeling as they led me to the patrol car. This had to be some massive misunderstanding. I kept replaying the last 10 minutes in my head, trying to figure out how saving a child's life had turned into an arrest. It was my first day navigating a big city after growing up in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky, and Michigan Avenue terrified me. 6 lanes of buses and taxis that never stopped for anyone. So when I saw the kid standing too close to the curb, my protective instincts kicked in immediately. They couldn't have been more than 4 feet tall, wearing what looked like a school uniform with a bright blue Pokemon backpack, teetering as buses whooshed past inches from where they stood. Something in my gut screamed danger. Back where I'm from, that same instinct had saved my nephew from wandering into the combine harvester's path. You develop a sixth sense for when kids are about to do something dangerous. Then it happened. The kid suddenly jumped off the curb and darted into the 6 lanes of traffic. No looking, no hesitation, just launched straight into the path of oncoming cars. My body moved before my brain could process. 20 years of muscle memory from football drills kicked in. Apparently at 6 feet 3 inches and 300 pounds, I still had it. I exploded forward, closing the distance in 3 massive strides. Horns blared, brakes screeched. A taxi missed us by inches as I scooped up the kid exactly like I'd grabbed my nephew. One arm under the midsection, lifting and cradling them against my chest as I powered back to the sidewalk. Hold on, buddy. I got you. You're safe now, I said in my calmest voice, the one I used with spooked horses and scared children. The response was not what I expected. A stream of profanity that would make a sailor blush erupted from the bundle in my arms. But in my adrenaline-fueled state, I assumed it was just shock. Kids nowadays watched all sorts of inappropriate content on YouTube. I set them down gently on the sidewalk, keeping one hand on their shoulder to steady them. It's okay. You're safe. Where are your parents? That's when chaos erupted. The crowd that had gathered started shouting. Someone screamed about calling 911. Others yelled that I was a kidnapper. The person I'd saved was thrashing and yelling, but I couldn't make out the words over the crowd noise and my own hammering heartbeat. Within minutes, police arrived. I tried to explain, but they weren't listening. Officer, I saved a child. They ran into traffic. I played football at Eastern Kentucky. I know how to safely tackle and carry someone. Sir, you're being placed under arrest for assault, the officer said. Assault? I saved someone's life. This kid would have been killed. The officer and his partner exchanged a look I couldn't read. Sir, turn around and put your hands behind your back. At the police station, I sat in an interrogation room, still insisting there had been a terrible mistake. The detective across from me looked exhausted. Mr. Johnson, tell me precisely what you observed before you took action. There was a kid with a backpack by the curb. They jumped into 6 lanes of traffic. I had to save them. Did you hear them speak before you grabbed them? There wasn't time. Cars were coming. The detective sighed and stood up. Mr. Henderson has agreed to speak with you before pressing charges. The door opened and my heart sank through the floor. In walked a man. Unmistakably, undeniably, an adult man. He had a salt and pepper goatee, laugh lines around his eyes, and wore an expensive 3-piece suit. His Pokemon backpack, which I now realized was probably an ironic fashion statement, was slung over one shoulder. He was also 4 feet 2 inches tall. Mr. Henderson, a 34-year-old tax attorney with dwarfism, looked at me with a mixture of rage and disbelief. You picked me up like a sack of potatoes. I'm a partner at the biggest law firm downtown. I have an MBA from Northwestern. I was checking my phone before crossing at the actual crosswalk when you came at me like a freight train. My face burned with mortification. I thought you were going to get hit. I was standing still on the sidewalk, waiting for the light like a normal person, but you jumped into the street. I dropped my phone and bent down to get it. The curb is higher when you're my height. I had to hop down to reach it. The charges were dropped once Mr. Henderson heard my side. You're an idiot, he said, but not a malicious one. Somehow we became friends after that. We meet for coffee regularly, and he introduces me as the reason I upgraded to a briefcase. He's turned the whole thing into his favorite cocktail party story. At least your heart was right, he admitted recently, even if your brain completely checked out.